My instructions were literally, if it makes your head hurt any worse, don't do it.
He started vomiting, and so now I'm freaking out.
I started getting distant from all my friends.
He couldn't have lunch in the cafeteria because of the noise. He couldn't go participate in gym.
When I was in school, I couldn't do all the work.
He missed a lot of events and functions associated with celebrating the movement from middle school to a high school.
It's hard not playing football. Football is really what I enjoy the most during the year. It was hard to go through that 6 months.
Imagine an egg in an eggshell. It's in fluid. Your eggshell is your skull. You take a very large impact to your skull, and anything that shakes the brain violently can cause a concussion. Second impact syndrome, that essentially occurs twice within a short period of time.
It's important that an athlete should not return to a contact sport or activity prior to the concussion healing, because a repeat concussion event almost always requires prolonged healing, and they always have worse symptoms.
A lot of it is due to an athlete not being upfront about their symptoms because they want so badly to go back into that game. I can tell you that we have those kids that are unable to get through a school day, unable to interact with their friends, stuck in a dark room, can't go on vacation. Essentially their whole social world, not to mention their sports world, but everything is impacted. So it is not worth it to go back in too early, to lie about your symptoms. And that's what we try to teach, is just to be honest about how you feel.
In my opinion, it was not worth going back into the game at all. It made it worse.
Recuperation time was extended, and he missed opportunities. He had an opportunity to play in an all-star game, which he could not do. And it took him out of school, took him away from his friends, took away vacations. It took away a lot of things for him.
Something could have been done differently. I shouldn't have gone back to the afternoon practice thinking back, but as a stupid kid just thinking, I'm fine, I can just bounce back from it.
You also have to trust yourself as an instinct. He was saying he was getting better, but there were certain intricacies that told me he was getting better, but he wasn't fully better. Between that and discussions with his doctors, we were able to make the decision to keep him out of play for at least 6 months, I think. It was a long time.
Missing one game or even missing a season is better than missing out on the rest of your life. And we're very, very careful and diligent in terms of when is the right time to go back. And that question is very hard to answer because there is no magic answer to that. So from a preseason baseline test, which includes a computerized impact test, a King-Devick test, which is eye movement, speed, verbal number naming, which kind of looks at ocular motor or visual control, how fast can your eyes move, your reaction time. We also do the vestibular ocular motor screening, which puts all your systems together and ties it in with your brain function. So your balance, your eye speed, being able to follow an object through space, which many athletes need to be able to move their eyes fast to follow an object. Those are all the tests we do in addition to a thorough physician evaluation. And once they are ready to continue our protocol, they go into a rehab program. Now we're getting them moving, now we're getting them physical, and we're seeing what they can tolerate.
In the post-concussive world, we're having prolonged symptoms. Sometimes it's asked, well, am I going to have permanent brain damage? Well, a PCS, or a post-concussive syndrome, is someone that has symptoms over 21 days, outside of that normal recovery zone. And outside of that 21 days, how fast do we know they're going to recover before they get into that, well, this might be your new norm, we now have permanent damage? The research says a year. The likelihood of you recovering fully after having a year of symptoms significantly goes down. Maybe this occasional headache, maybe this eye deficit, maybe this is going to be now your new norm. But 21 days to a year, everybody's different, and we're just looking to get them back as fast as we can.
So I think it's important to understand that we can't prevent concussions. We need to understand signs and symptoms. We need to get preseason baseline testing. Those little assessments that maybe take 35 to 40 minutes out of your day are well worth it, because if there is suspicion of a concussion, you have more than just symptoms to go off of, and you can redo that test and compare it to that initial baseline.
Some of the factors in an athlete that would predispose them to potentially having a concussive event are A, weak neck and upper trunk control. because if you can't support that head, the likelihood of that head moving in an abnormal rotation or an abnormal speed uncontrolled is obviously higher. And hand-eye coordination. They're actually finding that if you can speed up hand-eye coordination, the event that someone is hit when they're not know it's coming and they can protect themselves faster will lessen the event that they might have a concussion. Parents want to talk about, well, is there one specific type of equipment I should buy to prevent a concussion? The only thing as a physical therapist I recommend is that it's a required piece of equipment, make sure it fits properly. When the helmets fit properly, it's doing the job that it's intended to do. If it's not and the helmet's moving, then it's not actually protecting the skull in the manner that it was designed to do. So if you have it sliding in one direction, it's not fitting right, then the impact zones are not aligning with your skull the way that the researchers and all the R&D in that helmet intended for you to use that helmet.
I have my own equipment. My parents, they get me the best of the best. They spare no expense when it comes to my health. And my coaches have taught me different ways, taught me not to hit and always keep my head out of tackling and everything. So right now I don't fear me getting hurt.
Going forward, I had a conversation with my coaches and we came to an agreement that because they know how much I'm committed to the program, they're having me stay on as the manager to avoid any further injuries. Realize that it's the best decision for me going forward, but all of me still wants to play and actually feel like a part of the team.
I recommend to another athlete, if you ever have a head injury, like take yourself out. You still tell your coach, tell your parents, sit out for the rest of the game, and then if it still bothers you, go to the doctors, see what's going on.